New research shows that data centers may be actually making the state hotter. A researcher at ASU says he's measured the effects of the heat coming off of those data centers, and it's not a small amount. 12 News journalist William Pitts explains where that heat is coming from.
Data centers can be controversial for a lot of reasons: water use, power use, but now an ASU researcher says they also might be heating up the valley.
Data centers are everywhere, in the metro area, in the outskirts, popping up in the middle of Ahwatukee. But could they also be making the valley hotter? David Saylor at Arizona State University started to test that theory.
And what we started noticing was that downwind of the data centers, we were capturing an elevated air temperature.
His research involves sensors on cars driving around data centers taking temperature readings.
We found pretty consistent elevation of air temperature, at least hundreds of yards downwind of the data center in the nearby adjacent neighborhoods. Air temperature increases 3-4 degrees Fahrenheit.
Data centers, especially AI data centers, generate a lot of heat. That's why computers have cooling fans. Data centers have an entire cooling system. But that hot air exhaust doesn't just disappear, it has to go somewhere. Saylor says sometimes it goes straight up. Sometimes it gets blown by the wind.
The heat that's rejected from any building is usually more than the electricity consumption of the building, because the air conditioning equipment itself requires energy to run.
These things use a lot of electricity. I mean, some of them have their own substations. So you can imagine the amount of heat that they're generating.
Yeah, even a mid-sized data center, maybe a 30 megawatt data center, is using as much electricity as, like 20 or 30,000 homes.
Saylor says his data is still preliminary and only a couple of days worth. But he wants to design a full-sized experiment to nail down how much heat data centers are putting out, and maybe how to get rid of it.
We have to find a way to have that waste heat that comes out more effectively mixed vertically away from the surface.
William Pitts, 12 News.